And speaking about how countries in West Africa went ahead announcing the closure of their borders, because if you look through the objectives of ECOWAS in the first place, ordinarily that should have had its implications. But countries did that, and one may think it means that they must have weighed the intra-trade between countries in West Africa. And then they would have seen, wait a minute, if I close my borders, I don't stand to lose anything economically. Because if they did, they wouldn't close those borders. So to that extent, I want to say that, look, ECOWAS not necessarily achieving its objectives.
Not necessarily achieving its full potentials, I will agree. There are certain areas ECOWAS have done very well, comparatively. But like you said, that's exactly what the president of the commission was saying yesterday at the closing ceremony, that if we close the borders and restrict economic and trade relations with all those countries, we will worsen the situation of those countries. And even if it is not Ebola, if anything happens in future, we are only endangering not just the country, but ourselves as well. You know, for example, if everything like it is in Liberia now is shut down, almost everything is shut down in Liberia. So what will be the effect of that on the economy of Liberia, the little economy they are surviving on? What will be the effect? Secondly, what will be the implication on peace and security? And don't forget that this is a country that is just coming out of war with a lot of youth that are either unemployed or unemployable.
So what can other member states, especially like Nigeria, that has some form of experience in tackling the EVD and some other issues, in helping these countries, especially Liberia, can we do something, especially in the health issue sector, now that we know that in 75, because these are things that are coming into play, knowing full well that it's strictly about commerce until we got to the stage that we are in now, knowing that we are looking into the EVD specifically. Can Nigeria and maybe Ghana help some of these countries in the fight against EVD?
Unfortunately, that's again where my always concern is coming back to, that all fingers are not equal. Nigeria already have donated $3.5 million. Yeah. But unfortunately, I did not hear any other country on that list yesterday, either yesterday or at the opening ceremony.
Because they were all supposed to participate.
So it's supposed to be a pool fund that we demonstrate our leadership, then allow now the international community and other donor agencies now to put into the baskets. But what ECOWAS have provided is the coordination mechanism to ensure that whatever money is generated is applied to ensure that it addresses the issue of Ebola virus, especially in those three countries. But if only Nigeria is taking that shot, then that means it's not enough.
You know, I'm looking again at how the EU, looks at its joining in process. We've seen the battle, how Turkey wanted to join the EU for so many years, and they were told that if you don't meet this minimum standards, we're sorry you can't be a part of this union. And so you found out that they were trying to, be a little more transparent. They were trying to have more democratic elections. They were trying to be a little more, kind to the press, and all of this, conditions, trying to meet the conditions so they could join. Do you think that we had that kind of, thinking at all when we decided to, go into ECOWAS? Or we just thought all was well and good and it was okay because there were no borders?
Well, originally, like I said earlier on, the idea was not even a political community. Mm. It was more on economic integration, right? The problem is they now quickly found out that you cannot have economic integration if you don't have peace and stability. So the issues of the conflict that now took place now challenged the whole essence of the integration process. Mm-hmm. So there was no question of, do you want to join or do you not want to join? Everybody was interested in the economic integration, knowing fully well that these are countries with similar history. Okay? And as at that time, to also be very honest, the economy was not very bad. It was how do we leverage on one another. Okay? So, but the issues, like I said earlier on, issues of bad governance, issues of corruption, issues of conflict, peace and stability, now came and distorted all the ideals upon which the ECOWAS community was formed.
So what are they asking development partners to do now? I mean, yesterday was the meeting between ECOWAS and its development partners. What role are they seeing for the development partners in this?
What they are saying is that they are now trying to identify their priority areas. But the good thing is that for the first time, or for a good reason, you can now see the commitment of member states of ECOWAS in terms of each of the areas where they consider priority. So the first thing they do is to say, this is what we are doing in this direction, and this is the assistance we need. And because it is an annual partners meeting, it is also an accountability process. So they provide accountability and stewardship of what they've done in the previous year, how they've used the partners' money, and new challenges that the community is facing. Rather than the time when the development partners simply find a template and impose it on the community.
Okay, so it's going to be a little more, the partners we're looking at now are also partners from outside the EU space, I beg your pardon, the ECOWAS space. You're looking at partners from the EU, and I even saw one from the Holy See.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, these are all people or partners who donate money to ECOWAS to ensure that they're growing in certain areas.
Yes.
How has that process been before now?
No, it has always been that you choose your priority area. For example, if EU is interested in peace and security, they go into peace and security. But now ECOWAS is saying, according to our own strategic plan, this is the areas where we want to focus. The good thing is that there are bilateral relations, there are multilateral relations, and all of that constitutes into what we now call the ECOWAS partners meeting.
Does ECOWAS have a broad template for everybody, or
Yes.
or are they, leaving countries within the ECOWAS region to choose those areas that are important to them?
No, each member state can have bilateral relation with any other country or with any other development partner. But as a commission and as a community, they also have their different focus. The good thing also is that ECOWAS is still the only regional economic community that can fund more than 70% of its own programs through the community levy, which is fantastic. It doesn't happen even with the African Union. You don't have that.